95.3 WBCK now presents Coach's Corner, live from Lakeview Ford. For over 6 decades, this has been your #1 source for all local sports information. Coach's Corner is proudly presented by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now, here's your host, Bill Broderick.
This is Bill Broderick, sports editor of the Battle Creek Enquirer, in the big chair once again on WBCK for Coach's Corner in downtown Battle Creek at Lakeview Ford on the Motor Mile. For more than 6 decades, Coach's Corner has been talking to the city high school coaches about the week in sports, and we will continue that as we head into another week of the boys basketball season with our first coach of the morning. But first, here's the Lakeview Ford Coach's Corner scoreboard. Last Saturday, after Coach's Corner finished up, we had a couple Saturday matinee games. Penfield got a big win at home against defending champ in the I-8 Coldwater, 53-48. St. Phil went over and played on the big stage at Western Michigan University and lost to East Jordan 49-47. The schedule got to be more of a regular schedule there on Tuesday, and several city teams in action. Lakeview beat St. Joe 54-42. Matawan knocked off Battle Creek Central 77-42. Parchment beat Harbor Creek 73-57. And St. Phil got past Burr Oak 51-44. On Thursday, we had some midweek games in Smack East play. Lakeview took on Gull Lake and won 61-48. St. Phil went down to Colin and came away with a 49-42 win. And last night is a big night in Friday Night Hoops, as per usual. In our Enquirer game of the week, we headed over to Marshall. And it was a close game all the way. Harbor Creek had a 1-point lead with 1:20 left. And then went cold after that. And Marshall held off Harbor Creek and won 64-57. League leading Kalamazoo Central took care of Battle Creek Central 83-38. And we will be back with our first coach of the morning after this break on 95.3 FM WBCK.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
Bill Broderick back on Coach's Corner here with our first coach of the morning, Coach Burns of Penfield Panthers. How's it going, Coach?
Good, Bill. Good morning.
A light week for the Penfield Panthers this week. Mother Nature got in the way a little bit, and also they added a game because of Mother Nature. You had a Coldwater game that was postponed earlier in the season, and you guys were able to get that in last Saturday after we left you and Coach's Corner. And Coldwater is the defending champs in the I-8 and have it a little bit up and down season. But you guys had them at your place on a Saturday afternoon game, and then you guys won 53-48. That was a nice result for you guys in terms of your team that's been kind of up and down this year.
Yeah, for sure. It was nice to kind of finish the week off on a positive note. You know, we had strung together some good quarters. You know, we talked about last Saturday, Tuesday and Friday, and then just couldn't finish things off. And so it was nice to see the guys respond, short turnaround, and responded with a good, solid 4 quarters. And Coldwater had been playing well up to that point, stringing together a couple of victories, and so it was nice to finish the week with a win.
Yeah, you guys were up 38-28 at the end of the third quarter, and like you were talking about, that didn't necessarily mean a win was going to come your way. You've had some leads after the third quarter last week in a couple of places, and then couldn't hold on, but you guys did hold on. Jonathan Lake had 18 points and 6 rebounds. Brevin Bailey had 11 points. Kelvin Paisans, Deshaun Boykins each had 10. And I guess that was probably good to see. You had the lead of the third quarter. You learned a little lessons from what you've done earlier in the year, and you held on. What did you guys kind of talk about at the third quarter break there?
Yeah, to finish. I said, we kind of been in this position the last few games, and just kind of let them slip away. So really pleased with the balance that we had that afternoon. We're at our best when we are well balanced, and that's kind of been the case for the season when we get contributions, throughout the starting 5. But yeah, we just talked about finishing, making key plays. They were never going to just fold and let us just kind of go through the motions in the fourth quarter. So They hit some shots. We had to execute down at the end of the finish, and so it was a good step in the right direction.
Coldwater is coming off the league title from last year, and they are, Coldwater being Coldwater, they have a good program. You guys have had some nice games the last several years. A nice rivalry kind of grew there when you guys were both on top there, and Coldwater had a strong season last year. And they've been playing well this year, like you had said. That win over Coldwater had to pump your guys up a little bit and maybe give you guys some confidence going forward. Is that what you kind of saw after that game?
Yeah. And, we talked too, earlier in this week of, the first go around in the conference season didn't necessarily go the way we had hoped, and so we can safely say that the chances of a conference title are out of reach, but we can dictate kind of who wins that, and so we want to take that as a stepping stone. Impact the conference race as we go forward and continue to build on that Coldwater game.
It was going to be a light week for you anyway. You had an open date last night on Friday already set in the schedule, but you were supposed to play on Tuesday. Weather kind of got in the way there at Plainwell. That game has been made up, is going to be made up. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get over to Plainwell on Tuesday night, and so gave us a good opportunity to kind of focus on us then for the rest of the week and not have to worry about game prep then for Friday night's game. So we're able to get string together a few good practices and just kind of just focus on us, work on us. So that Plainwell game is going to be rescheduled for Saturday, February 10th. And actually turned into a home game. Plainwell could not host that day, so all three levels will be home at Penfield on February 10th.
Looking back, you guys have played really well on Saturday afternoons at Penfield. Is there something to that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I was making a comment, I think, Saturday afternoons. Man, maybe we should just get away with Tuesday night games and do Friday, Saturday. It seems to be the guys kind of regroup after that Friday night. Now, typically when that does happen, we do a team breakfast at a local spot on that Saturday morning. So last Saturday, it was Sunrise Cafe. We went down there and had breakfast, and so maybe there's something to just a team Saturday morning breakfast.
Or maybe get some scrambled eggs for the guys Tuesday afternoon before the game.
That may be. Yeah, maybe have to find see what kind of cafeteria food we can string together.
Coming up next week, a nice rivalry game for Penfield over the years, and that kind of resurfaces. You guys are playing at Olivet on Tuesday, and then league leading Parma Western comes into your place on Friday. A couple of real tough matchups for you, a couple of teams that are kind of on a roll right now.
Yeah, they're both playing well, both have double-digit wins already in the season, and I believe Olivet's still kind of leading their conference. Parma's leading our conference as well, so a little bit contrasting styles too. Olivet's not very big. They're going to want to get out and run, and they're going to press a little bit more. So we worked on that the last couple of days. And then Parma's a little bit bigger. We felt we played okay over there in stretches, and we match up well with them, just kind of their size and our size. But getting them on our home floor again, that's another chance to kind of impact the conference race if we can get Parma on Friday.
Olivet, for our local readers in the Enquirer, we follow them a little bit, and Bo Lincoln is a handful. He's an all-state guard last year, and seems like he's been there 7-8 years because he's a 4-year starter for Olivet, and a real athletic kid, a running back, quarterback type player on the football team, and when you get that athletic kid who can do a little bit of everything, that's kind of a tough matchup for you to have, but you've had a couple times to play him already. What do you kind of have to do against a kid like Bo Lincoln?
Yeah, so, they've got a lot of experience, coming back guys that have been there, 3-4 year varsity guys, and so Bo's there, and then they've got a couple other pieces that have been there as well. We haven't actually played them last few years. Just schedule stuff hasn't aligned. So this will be the first time in the last few years that we've played Olivet. We've had long-standing rivalry with them. It's usually a good matchup, so it's exciting to get back into the picture. We just got to focus on fundamental defense. Keep guys in front of us and help side and limit them to one possessions. Again, they're going to press, so we got to handle their pressure and then get back in transition.
There'll be a couple of fun games to talk about next week, playing a couple of tough teams, a couple of league leaders, Olivet, Parma Western. Penfield's going to have their hands full, but we'll have all that to talk about next Saturday with Coach Burns when he comes back. Thanks, Coach, for coming on down. We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
We're back with our next Coach of the Morning. We're here with St. Phil Coach. How's it going, Coach, this morning? You guys.
Morning, Bill.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
We had you also had a Saturday game last week that we want to kind of chat about. Talk about that game, playing at Western Michigan University, and it was kind of fun for the boys. It was a good experience, right?
Yeah, it was fun. Good experience. Played a Class C school in East Jordan. That came all the way down from way up there. I don't know how. I think it was about 3:30 bus ride for them. So yeah, long drive for them. But no, it was a really cool environment to be able to soak in for the boys and be able to have that opportunity to play there.
Then things kind of got regular routine. You guys were going to have 3 games this week. On the schedule. One got postponed because of weather, and then it turned into more of a normal week for you. You opened up with Burr Oak on Tuesday. You trailed in that game late in the third quarter by 10. You had a big fourth quarter with 20 points in the quarter to get the win. You beat Burr Oak 51-44. And Colt Myers had 17 points for you in that game. And Jackson Diswick had 16. Sawyer Weiss had 8. And his points all came in the fourth quarter or that late run for you. Talk about a couple of games where you played big late in that game, and what was kind of happening there for your club.
Yeah. To be honest with you, we showed up it was a snow day on Tuesday. We showed up like we had just rolled out of bed. So we didn't get off to the start that we wanted to get off to. We shot the ball poorly as a unit in the first half. And then the second half, we ended up getting down by about 10. And so we kind of we like to press with just, having limited bodies. We can't necessarily do it every game for 32 minutes. And so we threw our press on, and that's pretty much when we took over the game. Got a lot of, we call them turnovers for touchdowns. Got a lot of those. I think Sawyer, 6 of his 8 came off of just stealing it right out of the press and getting a quick layup. And Colt Myers was the same way, pretty much just getting turnovers and getting to the bucket.
And that's what you want to see out of your guys. You guys have really athletic players on the floor, not huge but athletic and can get the ball and get the moving in transition and get the ball up a little bit. And when that's happening and you're kind of cruising that way, you're playing your best ball, and you want to see it, that momentum kind of going, and the kids kind of feed off that. Is that how you see it out there? Yeah.
We like to play fast whenever we get an opportunity to. I think when we get going fast, it also opens up Jack big time on the perimeter shooting wise. He didn't have the greatest week shooting, but he's a good shooter. He'll bounce back.
You guys came in after that one and played Colin last night. You went down there. It's always a tough bus ride going down there, but you came away with a 49-42 win. It's your third win in the last 4, and put you on a little bit of a roll. You're up to 8-5 on the season, and that does feel pretty good. Carter Diswick had 14 points and 13 rebounds, a well-rounded game for him. That trip down there, Colin's been a tough team the last couple of years. They had some graduation losses last year that kind of has them down a peg, but it's always a big win going down to Colin, especially in the league, and to keep that momentum going for yourself. How important was that win?
That was huge. We emphasized before the game that we only have one division loss, one conference loss period, but one division loss. So we really try to we have our season-long goals, and one is to win the conference, and 2 is to beat our rivals, and we view Colin as a rival. And we knew we had to beat them to be able to keep the conference championship possibility open. And now we get a good matchup with Bellevue, who's sitting there at the top spot, undefeated in the conference, and us sitting there with only one loss. So next Friday is gonna mean the world to us now that we handled our business down at Colin.
Yeah, that's the big one. You guys have a full week to figure that out. You don't have a Tuesday game this week. No makeups there, sitting in that spot there. So you're playing at home, get Bellevue at Sheila Guerra Gymnasium, which is where you want them. I know we kind of talked about how Bellevue came in a little vulnerable this year, but looking at the schedule and their record, you might not think that. They have a nice winning streak in the league that's been going back a couple of years, and they are back on top again, like you said, 10-1, and despite missing their best player on the team in an injury before the season started, but they've been able to rally and put together a good season. You played them there and got behind early, and Bellevue kind of took care of business against you guys there. Right after that game, you're saying, well, we can play better than that, and we're looking forward to getting them at home. Now that you're taking care of business, like you said, and there's a chance to knock them off and maybe climb into a tie for first place, that becomes a huge game. Is that the game the kids have been talking about even after, as soon as you got on the bus last night at Colon?
Yeah. Once we got on the bus, we definitely had a little chit chat about Bellevue coming up on Friday. You know, they're a tough team. They will, if you're not careful, they will turn the ball over on you. They'll make you. They'll make you turn the ball over. So going in against them, we're going to really have to take care of the ball. We're going to really have to keep Caleb Betts in check. I've seen in the box scores that I think he had 33 or 32 the other night against Mendon, and he had another big night earlier in the week against somebody else. I can't remember, but they're physical. We're gonna have to match that physicality. I liked what I saw physicality-wise against Colon. We gave up too many offensive rebounds that night, but our physicality and toughness was there. So hoping that we can clean up some of those offensive rebounds and second chance opportunities, and go get a big one on Friday.
That Bellevue press is what everyone has to kind of get used to, and I know that sometimes you can get prepared for that by maybe putting 6 guys on defense against your 5 guys during practice. You don't have the roster maybe to do that because you don't have those extra bodies sometimes.
Nope.
But is that this kind of style that you have to? That's what you have to kind of deal with. You have to make sure that your press break is sharp, and you don't want those, like you said, turnovers for touchdowns going against you guys. Yeah,
no, they're definitely a difficult team to prepare for because of the style they play. I think Joe calls it organized chaos, which it is exactly that. But no, I've reserved specifically a scrimmage date for this week. I'm going to bring in some alums. We're going to try to kind of simulate a game on Monday or Tuesday. I can't. We haven't nailed down a firm date, but bringing in some bigger guys just to kind of prepare them for that instead of just scrimmaging against our JV all the time. Just bringing in guys that we got a good guard coming in, kind of be our Caleb Betts, and we got a couple guys over 6'5", 6'6" to kind of simulate the Payne boys down low and their freshman. I can't remember his name right now, but just trying to simulate that stuff, and so they know just exactly what they're going up against.
Well, that's a fun way to look at it. I know St. Phil has that holiday alumni tournament every year. You might want to get the championship team from that little event that you had and bring them in and play against you guys. Bellevue, like you said, they're 7-0 in the league, and they have 46 straight SCAA league games going. So that's a big king of the pile to kind of knock off. That would be a huge win for St. Phil if you can get that. Like you said, Caleb Best has been having a great year after he had to kind of step up. He had 33 points in the game this week. And you talked about the Payne boys, Nate Payne and Brady Payne, and that freshman you mentioned, Levi Hughes, has been playing well. And Bellevue, they just seem to kind of find a way. And Joe Costello there for the Broncos seems to get his guys ready every year. He always kind of whines in the early year that they're not quite ready or whatever. But when I talk to him early, but he always gets his guys ready. Is there an aura a little bit of playing Bellevue that you guys have to kind of break through a little bit this week too?
Yeah, speaking of that streak, I didn't know that streak. I knew they had a long streak. I didn't know the number on that, so thank you for that information. But yeah, there definitely is. There's definitely a little bit of a mental roadblock we have to mental hurdle that we have to jump over. But I think we have a really good group of kids that I think this might be the group that could just put them over the top.
That'll be a lot of fun to talk about next week. If we can do that, we'll talk a little bit more about Bellevue St. Phil next Saturday after possible St. Phil win on Friday night at Sheila Guerra Gymnasium. That'll be the big game of the week here at the Enquirer, a fun one to look forward to. Thanks a lot, Coach, for coming on down, and we'll talk a little bit more next week.
Thanks.
We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
This is Bill Broderick back in Coach's Corner, back here with our next Coach of the Morning here. We have Coach Glenn Hicks stepping in for Coach Steve Wickman at Lakeview. Glenn is a new addition to the Lakeview basketball staff. He's helping out with the JV team. Is that what I understand?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And how's that been going for you so far?
It's been going good, man. It's I really thank them guys for giving me this opportunity, to show what I can do, and I've been doing this quite a while. So big ups to Coach Whitman.
And just a quick side on the JV team. I know the JV team for Lakeview has been doing pretty well. Talk about your record and how things have been going for you so far.
Our record is looking pretty good right now. We just had three games in a row we won, and it's been pretty good. We got a good group of boys, and I call them coachable. They very coachable. So we've been doing pretty good, man.
Great. The varsity's been doing real well lately also. They've also won 3 in a row, and they started out the week on a high. They had St. Joe at home. They came away with a 54-42 win. That game, as per usual, Lakeview used its pressure defense to kind of speed up the game there. It was kind of back and forth early, and then Lakeview went on a 13-0 spurt in the second quarter. And that was pretty much what they needed to get the win, because beyond that, the first, third, and fourth quarter were kind of even with St. Joe. But you get that spurt and get the lead on your side, and then you hang on from there. And talk about that spurt ability a little bit for Lakeview in terms of what that has been a key for them all year round. It's something that Lakeview does well, and they kind of depend on that. Is that right?
Yes. So with that spurt ability, these boys they learning each other. I think as of with that St. Joe game, I think they just kind of figured it out, who need to be where, who need to do what, quality shots, and pressing and running. We do that very well.
You have the guards to do it. You have a real nice guard rotation there, a real athletic set there, led by LeBron Campbell. He had 22 points in that game and 5 assists. Malachi Bell is the other starting guard there, and it gives you a real good athletic backcourt. The Kaharchek twins come in, and they kind of rotate for each other, and they're able to keep things fresh there. But all 4 of those guys are quick and to the ball and can get deflections and start breaks. And having that depth has been a key for Lakeview. We talked to Coach Wickman about that from your perspective. How important has that been for the Spartans this year?
It's been very important, especially when we play our rival teams. Like teams like Kalamazoo Central. Let's talk about that. That's a tough team. Right. So them guys that you just named off, they just key components, and we need them, and they can do it for us,
Yeah.
So with the twins and LeBron and Malachi, oh man, that's great.
That's a nice group to lean on there. Malachi had 9 points in that game over St. Joe. Davis Barr has been coming on for you a little bit. He got reinserted back in the starting lineup a few weeks back, and he does the little things for Lakeview. He had 12 rebounds in that game, and Lakeview came away with a nice smack win there to keep things rolling. And then you went into action last night against Gull Lake, a Gull Lake team that has been a nice rival for Lakeview over the years, even before Gull Lake got in the smack. That was kind of a game that Lakeview will play Gull Lake during the holidays because their schools are a little similar. Now that they're in the SMAC, it's a twice a year kind of thing. And Gull Lake came away with a 61-48 win. That brought Lakeview to double digits in the win total, up to 10-4 on the season. The thing about playing Gull Lake is they have some of those kind of guards that Lakeview also has that kind of match up well.
Yes.
They have Kai Watts. They have Korstange, who's the really good soccer player over there. Real athletic guards in the backcourt. Talk about that matchup and how that kind of defined that game last night a little bit. Your guards against their guards.
Well, that's a tough game. They hung around a lot longer than we expected, just because of them guards, you know. So we had to go into the halftime and figure some things out and readjust and get people where they needed to be at, and we came out with it, you know. But they wasn't easy to beat. It wasn't easy. So
those guards that we talked about for Lakeview has led the balanced scoring effort. No one had a huge game, but everyone did kind of just enough. Malachi and Chika Harchek had 11 points each. LeBron had 10, which is below his scoring average, but he also does the little things to keep you guys going. Got some good production from in the paint. Braden McGill, your big guy there, had 7 rebounds and 8 points. Kai Watts had 23 points for Gull Lake. Kai Watts had a breakout season last year as a junior for Gull Lake. Ended up in the top 25 all-time single-season scoring for Gull Lake last year, and is even doing better this year. So he's been a handful for everybody. Getting 23 points was big for Gull Lake, but maybe only holding him to 23 was huge for you guys in the meanwhile. Getting that division win and getting to 10-4 on the season and keeping things rolling. What was the locker room after that game like?
It was quite lovely, man. You know, it's always good to win and be on 3 games in a row. That's a streak. So we want to keep this. We want to keep this momentum going. Make sure the guys is locked in. Practice is just as hard as a game, you know. So, and Coach Witt do an amazing job, man, with these kids and with the coaching staff, must I say. And I just think these boys they got a bright future, man. I'm talking about especially them guards. And let's not leave Davis out with them rebounds. You know?
Right. That was big for him. That's right. Looking forward to next week. Lakeview goes out of conference, and they're playing Wyoming Kelloggsville midweek. But then that team you kind of mentioned there in passing, the team that is always talked about in the league when you talk about the SMAC, Kalamazoo Central, been the perennial power in the league for a while now. Always tough for everybody. Always big, always fast. You get Kalamazoo Central back in Lakeview this time around. Lakeview came up short against them the first time. Kalamazoo Central has been doing that to a lot of teams. What did you learn from that first game when you played Kalamazoo Central that Lakeview can maybe use this time around when you get them at home?
Well, patience is the key. We got to be more patient. You know, Kalamazoo Central like to press and they like to run. So when they press us, we're gonna be more patient. Take it easy. Take what they give us, and go.
Right.
So I just think patience is the best. That's the way we going into it. Just be patient and take what they give us. So we're gonna try to make it happen this time. We at home. This gonna be a huge game. So hopefully everybody can show up and support us, and it's gonna be big.
I know Lakeview likes to be patient when they get in the half court.
Yes.
They like to run their sets, and you're looking for that right pass and the right screens. But when you're in the full court, what's been working well for Lakeview for the last month or maybe most of the season has been that controlled chaos a little bit with the pressure and getting that going in the full court, and it's been promising for Lakeview.
Oh yeah.
You might not want to do a ton of that against Kalamazoo Central. So where's the balance of that in terms of? You want to be patient in the half court. You want to use your pressure in the full court. Is there something where you might have to pull back a little bit on that in the full court to make sure that things kind of can't stay controlled for as long as you can?
No, not really. I just think patience is gonna be a whole 360.
Yep.
We're gonna use patience in the offense. We're gonna use it in defense. We're gonna use it in the pressure court transition. Whatever they want to do, we're gonna try to keep up with the flow of the game with patience.
Yep.
Just easy said.
Yeah, we got to put that on the chalkboard, I guess, before the game here.
Oh yeah,
Make sure everyone knows all about
I'm sure Coach will have it on the board. That'll be one of our key things we're gonna be hitting on, and get out and run, man, because they love to run.
All right, we'll go with your strength against their strength and see what happens, I guess. That's what will happen there.
Yep.
Friday night, big game at Lakeview. Kalamazoo Central coming into town. See if Lakeview can knock off the big boys and get back in the division standings that way. Thanks a lot for coming down here, Coach. Stepping in for Coach Wakeman.
Thank you.
We'll be talking about the Lakeview game next week when we all come back to Coach's Corner. This is we'll be back with our next Coach in the morning on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on 95.3 WBCK. Proudly brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Here's Coach's Corner.
Bill Broderick back on Coach's Corner. We're here with our next Coach of the morning, Coach Matt Bowling of the Harbor Creek Beavers. How's it going, Coach?
Good morning, Bill.
Harbor Creek had a couple of games this week. We had a Parchment midweek game and going out of conference. A nice Parchment team that's 9-3 on the season. We fell short against them, 73-57. Braxton Liss, who's been a bright spot for you a lot of the year, had 16 points. Davion Roy had 10. We talk about that game going out of conference and playing a really good Parchment team and what the challenges were for you guys there.
Parchment, a very solid team with two good guards. We didn't even get to see their big, unfortunately for them. They have a pretty good big who tore his ACL. Kid is also going to Wayne State to be a football player, so he's solid inside. But they had two formidable guards on the outside, probably, and they created some matchup problems for us on an individual basis. Definitely, the one guard, the Campen kid, probably one of the top 2 or 3 players individually that we've seen this year, from his ability to go to the basket, to shoot it, and his sheer athleticism. So he was he had a solid game against us. I thought that we came out the first 2 or 3 minutes and we played really well with them, and then we had an offensive lull, and that lull allowed them some separation. And with their, using the words taken from Lakeview a little bit, their spurtability, they have it too. And they made a nice run on us. And we struggled a little bit in the second quarter and halfway through the first offensively. That allowed them to get some space on us. But we went into halftime and came out in the second half and had a nice second half. I think we scored about 43 points in the second half. So we kind of fixed and adjusted some things a little bit, but it was mainly just kind of seeing the ball go through the basket and allowing us to relax a little bit. But Parchment's one of the, like I said, real solid club this year and had a couple good individual players.
We talked about it several times this year. You have a young team on the floor in terms of experience, and it is. January 27th, so not everyone is young anymore, but there's a lot of experience. But going on the road against a Parchment team that's working on double-digit wins here around the corner, when you have a lull in the first half, how tough is that to bounce back from at the moment? And then you had to like how you guys did a little bit of that in the second half, maybe a learning curve for you a little bit there.
Well, I mean, to kind of go back to what we talked about, a young team, and so we this year with our kind of, it's been a progression in my opinion, is that we started out and we had maybe some turnover issues early, so we didn't get to spend as much time talking about good shots. We had to focus on taking care of the ball. So we were shooting the ball and we needed to focus on just taking care of it, and then. Now I feel like we've turned the corner where we consistently take care of the basketball, and now we're focusing and talking about good shots. What's a good shot? What's it look like? Things a little more tangible, and we've spent a lot of time on that recently, and that was part of the lull that we saw. We kind of panicked a little bit when they went on the run, and we just started chucking some stuff up there. And so I think we carried over into last night where we didn't, and I told the kids in the locker room after last night, I said, this is some progress. We didn't have that offensive lull last night. We didn't go minutes without scoring. We went possessions versus minutes. So I think that progression is coming. And we've gone from taking care of the ball to getting looks to now we're looking at what's a good shot, and I think we're paying off and we're getting there.
Last night you played. It was a fun game to watch. So it was our Enquirer game of the week, and playing your rival Marshall at their place, back and forth game, an intense game all game long. You fell short, 64-57. You had a 1 point. You took a 1 point lead with a minute 37 left there, and had some momentum going your way. The ball doesn't bounce your way a couple times after that. You don't end up scoring the rest of the way, and fall a little short. But we talked about a little bit after the game that you had to like how you guys played last night, taking another step, I guess, as a team. And moral victories aren't that great to talk about, but when you're playing a Marshall team and you had it right there, a chance to win, that's what you kind of take away from that. Is that right?
Well, yeah, we battled last night. I mean, we had, unfortunately, we just lost a guy right after taking the lead a little bit. And with the style that we have to play, with trying to play fast and some pressure defense, maybe that was on me. I should have, if the free throw goes, we just fall back. But I thought we could hurry them into taking a quick shot, and then it gives us an advantage on the glass, especially in that situation. And I felt that was what we needed instead of trying to, let them bang away at the half court and getting an offensive rebound there. So I guess I second guess myself a little bit on that one. But we were there and had possession, and then went down, and we had a look or two, and it just didn't fall for us. And then we were, I think, three or four fouls from the new bonus, the 5 fouls. So we then they got to eat a little clock as we tried to foul, and that was kind of how it ended.
What I really liked about your team is you got down 20-10 in the first quarter, and but then you came out and using that pressure and that kind of controlled chaos that we've been talking about a little bit this morning with some other teams. Harbor Creek had a little bit of that also last night in terms of hurrying up Marshall and then taking advantage of that and getting some baskets your way, and also getting some open threes where the Marshall defenders were kind of late on rotations because you guys were moving the ball so well. You went on an 18-3 run there, and took a 28-23 lead with 2 minutes left in the half. Braden Best had 3 3-pointers during that stretch. That's when Harbor Creek may have been playing some of their best basketball of the year, just in that one little section there. Did you see a little bit of that?
Yeah, that was nice. We did play well during that run. That was a nice. We played pretty well there at both ends of the floor, like you said. Didn't necessarily always turn them over, but we sped them up and got with tempo, which we always talk about, which we want, is to play that fast pace. And it's unfortunate that we didn't close out the half with the lead, but that little stretch was a good momentum and run stretch for us. But again, going back to what we talked about earlier, last night was a night where we didn't go minutes without scoring. We went possessions. And that was a big deal. So there was some progression last night offensively for us, and kids stepped up and hit shots. And I think the moment in the rivalry game, and that brought the best out in some of our kids last night. And that was a good thing to see, instead of, kind of the game lights go on occasionally and things seem a little big. But that wasn't the case last night. So I got to see some more progression from our kids on that. So I would agree.
Marshall has a little size on their side, and they use it to their advantage. Miller for Marshall had 23 points to lead them, and with 9 rebounds. Ty Keeler hit the big 3 that after you guys had taken the lead, he hit a 3 to put them back up. And then Austin Burns, another guy with some size, 13 points and 9 rebounds. And that brought Marshall back up to 500 on the season, 7-7. They've been kind of up and down themselves. Harbor Creek, Best had 16 points to lead you guys, a big game for him. And Braxton List, another nice game, 13 points, and Vetti had 10. Let's talk about this week a little bit, what's in front of you at Harbor Creek. You guys have a non-conference game, Sturgis, coming up midweek. And then at Jackson Northwest on the end of the week. Talk about the challenges of those two games for you.
Well, Sturgis they're going to do just the opposite of what we want to do. And they have a long-time, good, solid coach there with Keith Kowalski. And they're going to slow this thing, try to slow us down and play at a snail's pace and hang around as long as they can. And they're going to play a 2-3 zone and pack that thing in and really try to slow the game down. And they want to play 30s and 40s. And we want to speed that up, so that's going to be contrasting styles on Tuesday. And then on Friday, going again back on the road, Duncan Moffitt's probably one of the best guards in the league. He's going to go play at Alma next year. The key is to contain him, and they have another guy that can catch and shoot, along with 2 athletic wing players. We did a good job at home with them last time we played. And did a good job on the defensive end. We kind of need to do that again. And we just got to try to, Duncan's going to make some shots. We just can't let him go crazy. And again, it goes back to what we do what we do defensively, and also offensively, continue our improvement and progression, and continue to go with possessions, not minutes, versus when we're go through some droughts and lulls. So we can continue with that. Hopefully it'll be an exciting week for us.
All right, it'll be a fun week to talk about next Saturday when we all get together. Thanks, Coach, for coming on down. We'll be back with our next Coach of the Morning here on WBCK 95.3 FM.
Coach's Corner on WBCK, brought to you by Lakeview Ford, where community matters. Now back to the show.
Back here with our next Coach of the Morning, a short break there here, and we're back here with Coach Grant Crum of Battle Creek Central Bearcats. How's it going, Coach?
Things are well.
All right, Coach. Let's talk about the week that Central had. You guys you played a couple games. We had you playing Mattawan, and you fell 77-42 in that game. Josh Harris had 12 points there. And then last night, you guys played Kalamazoo Central and came up short and lost 83-38. A couple of tough matchups for the Bearcats this week. A couple of athletic teams that you played. Talk about the challenges of playing back-to-back, really good teams back-to-back, and what that kind of means for a young team for the Bearcats there.
Yeah, well, as the outcomes and the scores indicate, it definitely is a challenge for the young guys that we have this year. Still trying to, I guess I would say, develop some identity. Guys are still struggling to handle pressure. Don't really have guards that have quite figured that out. And both Mattawan and K Central really came with pressure, probably knowing that that's probably would be to their advantage. So, yeah, we're still trying to figure it out, and this has been a difficult week.
Kalamazoo Central, the big boys in the league, and they're always a tough matchup for Valkyrie Central, no matter what kind of year you're having. And for local basketball fans who like to kind of look outside the area into the region and what kind of teams to look at and who are good and who's not, Kalamazoo Central is one of the good teams. Talk about what they kind of do well that kind of gives teams problems, give you guys problems as well, but can give everybody problems.
Yeah, well, they have size, they're physical, they have speed, so they have all the tangibles, and then they just come at you hard. I mean, they really apply the pressure, full court pressure, and if you struggle with handling pressure, then the scales tip in their favor automatically from the jump. They have a lot of size, a few big guys in the paint, and they're physical, they're aggressive, they're athletic. So you've got to be on your A game or find an A game when you play the Maroon Giants.
Looking forward to a couple of chances for you guys to get in the win total. That's all you can ask for, is to get a couple more times to hit the court. And you have an interesting game next. You play Charlotte this week.
Yes.
Just like the field house for a lot of teams, they come in, that's an interesting place for teams to play, and it's kind of the home court advantage. Charlotte has that same thing. They have that dome over there, and that's an interesting place to play. I'd say a fun place to play for opponents to come in. And you guys have seen that place before, and how do you kind of get ready for that kind of gym? It's a unique kind of gym.
Well, kind of like you say, it's similar to the field house, where it's kind of like the arena type of setup. So I think in that regards, we're a little used to that, because we play most of our games in the field house. So we look forward to it. It's they play a different style, not always as up-tempo, but I think this year they are trying to push the ball in transition a bit more, and should be a fun game, a good game, and I think the arena atmosphere is probably we're probably as comfortable with that as anybody.
Well, a little misleading on my side. Charlotte is playing at your place this week, but they have that situation where they're used to their place and they have to come to the field house, and vice versa. So
Yep.
it's kind of a situation where they are used to unique places to play, and so are your guys. So
Yes.
it'll be fun for everybody. You get Lloyd Norwich at home also at the end of the week, getting back in league play. A rival years, a team that had some interesting games last year that played without any fans in the stands. This is a different era now, and playing Lloyd Norwich on Friday. Looking forward to that. And how do you guys kind of match up with Lloyd Norwich right now?
The matchups are pretty similar. I mean, I think personnel-wise, they have a little more size once again than we do, which is pretty much always the case right now. But they're gonna try to speed us up. They were successful in doing that last year. As they watch the scores week in and week out, they see that that's probably the way that you come at the Bearcats right now. So we'll be in the gym getting ready. We'll continue to work on those situations in which we have not been handling very well, and just keep plugging away. But we know they're coming with guns a-blazing, so maybe that's not the best scenario.
That's been a challenge for you, though, that pressure. And a lot of teams, like you said, the scouting report is that you want to press Battle Creek Central if you can. And what have you done a little bit of practice to kind of remedy that, and maybe are you using a tighter or a wide-ranging rotation to make that happen? In terms of, you have to kind of balance kids getting tired, but also you want to have your best ball handlers out there when that situation is coming up.
Yeah, well, right now it's difficult. I don't know if we have ball handlers that we call better than the others, that we really can say that. I mean, the guys with a little more experience are the guys that are playing the most, but we're still turning the ball over. So it kind of makes it easy for a coach to be able to do some rotations and get some other guys in there, because everybody's sharing in the not being able to really take care of the ball like we need to. So, but that doesn't help you in the outcome, when you're using guys that are less experienced. But the experienced guys need to do better. We have to be able to count on some consistency from some of the more experienced guys, and right now they haven't been as consistent as we need.
And it looks like that in some games I've seen that you guys are playing some younger guys to get them experience, hoping to use this year's some tough games this year, maybe for things to be better going forward. Has that been a front of the mind kind of thing where you decided we're gonna play some younger guys this game to kind of get things going, or is that kind of a game feel?
Yeah, well, no, it's by design. I mean, we have to, at this point, realize that we have to build for what's to come, and also not to give up on this season and continue to work to get better. The younger guys are coming to practice every day. They're listening, they're learning, they're trying. And at some points in the game where it seems like it's not going to matter as far as a win or loss, then we're going to get some of those guys in and get them out on the floor so that they're getting game experience.
Well, we're looking forward to Battle Creek Central improving throughout the second half of the season. We've kind of hit the turning point here, and you're facing some teams for the second time, so I guess that'll be the way to look at things going forward and seeing how you match up well the first time and seeing if you made some improvement. And we'll look forward to that Bearcats there as we go forward. We'll talk to you again next week, Coach. We'll be back. We're not going to be back. This is the end of the show. This is WBCK 95.3. Thanks for listening on Coach's Corner.